And welcome back, dear listeners, to another episode of RiftRadio 8999, where the unknown becomes known and the unheard is finally heard. I'm your host, Fernando, and with me today, once again, is the enigmatic visitor who's been stirring up quite a conversation again across the cosmos, Blinko. Right, so
Let's go.
how are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm feeling great today.
Oh, that's brilliant, man. I'm feeling vibes. I woke up this morning, it was raining. I was like, I really can't be bothered. I need to go to the gym. But this weather is not really, helping me. But then, yeah, halfway, like the sun was shining, and a mate of mine apped me and said, like, you know what, move your ass, let's go. And I said, like, you know what, fudge it, let's go. But I'll need cocktails after this to compensate.
Yeah. Weather's good here, man. The one thing though is remember that portal that just flipping showed up?
Yep.
Well,
As it
it
started, as it
keeps
started
making.
melting, your eyes.
Well, it's making sounds, man, and it's
Maybe
I
it's
don't know. It,
constipated.
maybe that's what it is. Maybe it needs a laxative. Should I throw a laxative at it? What would
Well,
happen?
I don't know if you want to know what you're gonna expect after that though.
Oh, oh
I don't
gosh.
know
Okay, okay,
I don't
okay.
know what you expected from it.
Wow, I'm expecting relief is what I'm
Well,
expecting.
I mean, it's a relief or a burden for it depends which party it
Uh,
is.
well, let's just hope whatever activity takes place that happens on the other side. You know what I'm saying?
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
How about today's guest is gonna be? I mean, it's gonna be an awesome guest. I mean, you've been playing the game a bit, haven't you?
Yeah, man. I've been playing a little bit of Megaforce Arena, and I popped in there, and just like a typical DGen, I'm just kind of playing cards, going all in on my energy, not knowing what I'm doing, not reading
Mm.
anything, just trying to wing it. And then all of a sudden, he sees me playing, and he's tossing me some little nuggets of little help, and yeah, man, it's a fun flipping game. It's different from some of the other stuff that's out, but it's kind of addicting. Some of these games you go in and play, and you're like, okay, well,
Mm-hmm.
this is cool. I'm excited to see what will come next. But
Yeah.
right out the chute, man, this alpha game is fun, right? Like if you play somebody and then immediately want to go, I need to beat them. I need a rematch.
Yeah.
I think you're on to something, right? I think that's the secret sauce. If you get beat and you want to go back and you want to beat them, rather than bounce and do something different,
Mm-hmm.
I think you're on to something. And I think that's what they have, to be honest with you.
I mean, like, so for assume I've never seen this game, right? And you're tuning in and you're listening in, and like lead me through it as I'm a blind person that just wants to listen what you've been playing. Like,
Well,
what kind of game is it?
yeah, so it's a card game,
Mm-hmm.
based upon these sentinels, right? And these various traits and in characters, and they all have different abilities, and you play those cards based upon that. And yeah, you have health, and then you have like this mental energy, and basically you throw down a card, and then the opponent throws down a card, and then you guess.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of have this kind of a moment where you're okay. If you start out with 10 energy, and you throw down maybe say 6, your opponent throws down 5. You both burn you both burn that mental energy. But then, if you won that, then you get that card and you can play it. Now, what's interesting is that that mental energy is total key, right? Like right off the gate, when I was playing it before, I was going all in on my energy, and yeah. And so what's interesting is that you can burn kind of cards in order to let other people waste their energy, and then you kind of get like the speculative thing of how much energy they have in order to ensure you have your
Mm.
card, because you can, and there's only like 50 points of health, thereabouts. And yeah, man, like it kind of go back and forth. It's fun. We should, Mr. President, how bad did I slaughter that thing? You wanna come in and give the more official response?
Yeah, hey, no, you did a great job. I mean, it's what it is. It's basically a 1v1 card game that's based off of our Megaforce Sentinel collection, which minted well over a year ago. Now, it was last April that we had minted that collection, and I mean that's actually when work really initiated on building out this game. And yeah, it's in the vein of games like Magic the Gathering and Hearthstone and other card games. What we feel like we've got a number of really interesting and rather unique nuances to the game that sort of make it stand out and make it special, and also make it extremely replayable. And I mean, I love that the adjective that seems to accompany most reviews of the game is addictive. And that was obviously something we wanted to make in a game, was something that was not just the same thing over and over. Everybody wants people to replay their games, and lots of games out there have more of like a grind, mindless element. But sort of everything we do at Applied Primate has a lot of thought, depth, and complexity. Some people might criticize too much complexity sometimes, but that's sort of what we wanted, was to make something really substantial that just has legs to not only stand on but get up, walk around, and grow. But yeah, so when you play the game, you have everybody starts with 50 health. Everybody starts with 10 mental energy. Depending on what Sentinels you own, your card deck is built with a combination of standard cards that are available to every player, but also the traits that are on the Sentinels that you yourself own get shuffled into your deck. So everybody has a unique deck that they're playing against their opponent with, and it's interesting, that entire bidding auction mechanic. There's a it's not something that you see in a lot of games, and it was also something that was very key, where you're dealing with sort of like an ecosystem and marketplaces and secondary sales. Like we didn't want to make something that one whale could come in, sweep up all the good cards, and then the game's rendered pointless for all other players. So every card that you have, your opponent can take from you in that auction, in that bidding round. It's only in that round and in that game. Nobody's playing for pink slips yet, but yeah. It was fun to watch you just totally degen all your mental energy, because as the game drags on through subsequent rounds, winning those bids and formulating a strategy to try and trick or win over your opponent is pretty essential.
It's nothing worse than throwing down a card and throwing like 6 energy down, and then your opponent drops like 1 or 0, and you're like, and you win, and you're like, oh, why did I do that? Because it's so huge.
I overpaid greatly.
Yeah, no, it's fun, man.
Good. I'm so glad you're liking it. And really everybody else. I mean, the feedback from all the alpha testers has been positive, which is great, in terms of enjoyment and appreciation of it. And we're so sorry. We tried and tested everybody's patience with how long it took, but these things take time, and we're really glad that we're at this point.
Yeah. I get that. I mean, building in public, it's you got to have some thick skin. But to do things right, I think sometimes you got to take your time. And what you've been doing on the backside of that with lore, man, I'm telling you, like there's a few projects that do lore just exceptionally well. And, I think 10KTF and I think Applied Primate, man. I think I just listened to Dr. Gibbs, audio clip, and there's just so much going on, and the arena is just one component, but there's just a lot of pieces to the ecosystem. What led you to join Applied Primate and take on this unique persona within the project?
I basically started out as in the community. Applied Primate is the brainchild of our founder, PTM, who early on had picked up a few of these mega mutants, and especially around Mega Radioactive, aka Doc Gibbons, just felt like the PFP, the image of this character had so much of a story in it, and so much story to tell. So he famously, gosh, it's now about two years, like 3 or 4 months ago, had launched a completely surprise online puzzle / treasure hunt around, where's Doc Gibbons, was sort of the famous missing poster that was posted really with no fanfare, but just launching what would then become this whole adventure that's now 2.5 years in running. And he liked puzzles. He felt like there was a really great way to engage and foster community engagement and involvement. So it had launched with a really cool plan of having a number of online puzzles that lasted for a couple of weeks. It then shifted IRL around Ape Fest in New York City in the summer of 2022, where on the first day, Applied Primate hosted a in-person scavenger hunt. I think there was something like it was like 50 to 75 teams of 4 people a piece, who then went running around New York City, engaging with actors who were positioned around the city, going to landmarks like Central Park and the Empire State Building. Really, like we spent the whole day running through the streets of New York, taking cabs, jumping on subways, running into other teams along the way and trying to stay ahead of them. And it ended that evening at the first night of Ape Fest. And on stage, there was a moment where the Mega Serum, like the second to last Mega Serum, was chugged, and it revealed Mega Gold. So for me, I was going through all of that as a player and participant. I had my team of scavenger hunt colleagues, was solving the puzzles online by myself and with other people. And it wasn't until that night of that event that I met PTM for the first time. And, we sort of got to talking, and, really at that point, that was all that had been scoped out and planned out. It was kind of like the pilot episode, if you will. So, see how it goes, see if there's room for more, see how, the public and the community responded to it. And, really in the subsequent weeks, we got to talking, and he asked me to come on and join him. And I absolutely jumped at the chance, because I just loved everything that he was doing and wanted to be a part of it.
Oh wow, that's an amazing backstory. I had no clue. I came in, and he asked me to take a peek at this thing, and I came in and came along on the secondary side, and there's just so much there, and it's fun to see how that evolved and how you grew within that. How do you balance the fun of the lab with the serious aspects of lore and narrative within Applied Primate?
I mean, I don't know how much we seek to balance as much as we just seem to always weave back and forth between all of it. You know, we definitely like to have things be as tongue-in-cheek as possible. You know, I'm not sure if it how much it comes through, but like there's you know, so many inspirations from, like, you've got this organization, but we try to make it an organization that doesn't take itself too seriously, or if it does to the point of, you know, almost satire. You know, we've tried to do that along the way in so many ways. I mean, we've got the our HR like robot and voice, which, you know, sometimes takes its cues from, like, you know, it's kind of like the opposite of the depressed robot from Hitchhiker's Guide. You know, it's always pushing joy in a way, but, you know, it comes across at times, you know, flat and robotic. So we try to make these things funny and give everything its own personality. And, you know, that just has to do with a little, like, all of it is somewhat of a role play or a cosplay. You know, we're all in the lab, you know, all of the members of our community, key card holders are scientists who are always involved in helping Doc or anyone else out with whatever, you know, puzzling assignment might come their way. And with last year's introduction of the Sentinels, which we've got this whole search for missing megas that's kind of always been key to our lore. Everyone who has or holds one of these Sentinels are their operator. So the Sentinel operators are the ones who are now, you know, in our alpha testing, going through their basic training to familiarize themselves with the skills and abilities and experiment in a few ways with their Sentinel or their Sentinel army. And you know, we take things from there.
That's awesome, man. I think it's interesting to see, you know, how each project, you know, kind of takes on storytelling along with activations and roadmaps and such. And, you know, I think, you know, a lot of it, at least for me, is kind of enjoying the process, right? It's like this fine balance of seeing maybe where it's headed, but, you know, I don't necessarily want to know all of it, right? Like, I want to uncover it as we go. And I think, you know, a lot of people resonate with that, or at least, you know, maybe the ones that, you know, want to engage and want to do some of these things. You know, Applied Primate has a strong narrative and focus. How do you contribute this storytelling, even though it's a playful angle?
How do we contribute it? What do you mean?
Well, so, like with gameplay within the arena, how will storytelling unfold with some of these traits and cards? Will does that plan to evolve in any way? You know, you mentioned something about, you know, no cards are getting jacked as of now, right? And I was intercepting some transmissions, and I saw some GG protocol action taking place. Any plans of how does that story evolve in that aspect?
Oh yeah, I mean, like, you know, the whole it's so much of it. We try to make it as complementary as possible. You know, in the reality in the real world, you know, we've put out this game that, you know, we want everybody to be playing. We're really looking forward to seeing that grow and expand and invite new players who want to play the game. But at the same time, you know, everything is, you know, attached to and built into the lore and the narrative and the storytelling. You know, everything from, I mean, just everything with, like, the mental energy, and, the deployment of Sentinels is, we work to try and weave that into the narrative. What basically everybody's doing right now, story-wise, we've got Doc and Gold, who've sort of met up with Mega Demon in the past couple of weeks, and they're still hot on the trail of all of the missing Mega Mutants. And I think what everybody, all the Sentinel operators are doing and need to be doing is bulking up and getting ready for battle, because obviously some conflict is looming. So that's sort of how that all works in and works together. We've got we're with the game itself. I mean, just putting together the drones was a lot of fun. We had this is sort of a fun backstory, and some people who've been in the Discord throughout, or at some of the events might remember this, but early on when we were working with the game designer putting this whole game together, these summoning cards that a lot of the traits do right now, you summon some drones. In the earliest version, they were fish. And it was just like, okay, that's what the game designer had thrown in there. And, we've got these really cute fish cards that we were playing with. But it was like, yeah, I don't know. We kind of need to have something that's maybe a little more closer to lore and to all the narration. And we had sort of summoned these drones last summer when we were doing this reactivation puzzle built around the monitoring system that Doc has at his labs. And that was, this is again more backstory and behind the scenes, but like we had put together a really cool augmented reality real life scavenger hunt where we had hidden these AR items at various points around the world, and everybody was going out to them and finding them themselves or calling in friends who happened to be in those areas. But we had ended up putting a couple just where they could not be reached. So really on the fly, a few days into the puzzle, it was like, gosh, I don't think somebody's going to find that one in Jakarta or whatever it was. And so we created these drones at that point, really just as an 11th hour Deus Ex Machina to wrap the puzzle up. And this was hitting up the artist who we work with, Chuba-san, and just being like, hey, can you throw us together this, a drone? Because we want to illustrate, what Doc's sending out to go retrieve the final pieces. And he came back with this amazing prototype, this cute little character. And it was like, oh my God, we've got to use this guy somewhere else. So when it came time to figure out like, oh, we need some summoning item to replace these fish, the drones was an absolute no-brainer.
That's perfect. Those drones are gnarly from the art aspect, but taking using your card to turn all your opponent's cards into drones is like got to be one of my favorite plays. I just dig it.
That one's such a fun one. Yeah.
Well, speaking of narratives and storytelling, we do have advertising. I'm sorry, everybody. It's very short, but our sponsors, they got their own strings that they're pulling. So, Fernando, if we're ready to queue up that sucker so we can get back to this thing, maybe we do it.
Well, we have to, man. We have to pay the rent, right?
We got to do it.
Let's go. We'll see you soon.
Hey there, Rift Valley. Feeling hungry but tired of the same old junk? Come on down to Big Al's Burger Barn, where we flip the biggest, juiciest patties in town. Our secret, it's all in the sauce, 100% real mystery ingredients. Try our new quadruple bypass burger. It's so big, you'll need a forklift to carry it out. And don't forget, every Tuesday is all you can eat bacon night. Big Al's Burger Barn, where your diet goes to die. located downtown next to the giant inflatable cow. Disclaimer: not responsible for clogged arteries, food comas, or sudden cravings.
Well, you heard the disclaimer. They're not responsible for anything, but it does sound delicious besides the secret ingredient. I don't want to know what that was.
Yeah. I heard some croaking, man, and I don't know. They say frogs taste like chicken, and I think they smell like fish. And it looks like.
How would you know?
Like
you don't even have a nose.
Well, I've intercepted enough transmission to know, brother. Let me tell you.
How can you even smell? You don't have a nose. You're an alien.
The
nose.
Sometimes you pick up the nose. Oh snap! Oh gosh, that just lit me up. The nose. Kudos to 10KTF for ripping out that. That first place, they didn't follow the regulations. No. They were booted out, and Nose is going to be the name for that first map, but that's a whole nother story. Yeah. So Mistaken President, what are you most looking forward to as community grows and evolves?
We're at this point where we've got the alpha out now. We're getting so much in the way of great feedback from players, some really great ideas. One of the coolest ideas, and so much of it is just going to enhance the user experience and the interface. One that none of us had really thought about is, creating, being able to go into your profile and going through, if you've got many sentinels, like pre-loadouts, loadouts that you can use to just bring into every match instead of all the individual selection. And so we really just had been looking so forward to hearing what people's thoughts and what their ideas would be, and knew that there were going to be some really great ideas out there that we hadn't thought of ourselves. What we're going to be doing next is just sort of taking all of these notes back, plugging it all in and getting everything geared up for a beta. Right now it's fun because the reaction to the game has been so intense and immense that we have to hold ourselves back from going wild with that, because right now it's still just sort of a closed alpha to everybody who was already a holder as of the snapshot we took. But when we get to beta, which will follow on the heels of this, that will be open to just anybody and everybody who has a Sentinel, whether you've had it for a year or whether you've had it for an hour. So that is going to be for us a really great opportunity then to really just try and spread the word, invite more people to come in and play. It's been a little heartbreaking to have to stick to the rules that we set for ourselves when people have come forward wanting to play now, and just sort of having to ask them politely to wait for beta. There's still so many things that we've got planned to further enhance the game. Right now we've got it's all manual matchmaking. We've definitely are in the works, already started on an automatic matchmaking function. Right now you need to have someone to play against. We're also at work on like a single player versus computer AI version, so that if you just want to play by yourself and try out a couple of things, you're more than welcome to do that. And just beyond that, like the thing we're most excited about is when we get to the point where we're able to start hosting tournaments and putting together some really great events around the game. So we've got a lot planned. We also have expansion. We last year, people who were involved in the Mega Mutant Melee that we had held over April of last year, or actually it was March. March of last year. Everyone was airdropped sort of a random piece of equipment We currently, and have always on our website beyond that, had a place where you can go and in specific arrangements combine those items to create and craft weaponry. So all of the weapons that people craft also has a card mechanic. It's not been loaded into the game yet because we haven't set up the equipping just yet of those weapons, but that's the first planned expansion, and we've got a whole host of others that we just have on the drawing board.
That's exciting. I've seen the weapons. I noticed there's like a Coda staff. That's really, really intriguing. And excited to see how that will come into play. You know, and for those that, you know, are hearing about this game for the first time and want to play, I mean, you know, the cost of entry to actually play the game, you know, with the floor value on the Sentinels, you know, there's certainly an opportunity in order to play, right? Let's just put it that way. I love it. I have fun doing it, and I like the idea of having some type of an AI to just so you can play, like maybe you're practicing, you know, something, or maybe you're not even able to hit a match. I think sometimes now, you know, you go into the matchmaking channel and you're trying to queue up a player, you know, and if no one's able to play, but you're still, maybe you only got a small window, you know, I think that's a great idea. Are there any collaborations or cross-project opportunities that you're particularly excited about in the near future?
I mean, the option is there. You know, it's I think one of the things that we wanted to make sure we had with this game was that we had the opportunity to expand wherever possible and just sort of scale out. You know, we have nothing, you know, scheduled or announced or anything I can talk about involving any other communities, but that opportunity is always there. You know, right now it's, you know, Sentinels and Sentinel cards, but anything's possible. And it's been great to hear from the community what kind of other cards they might like to see. I mean, right now, two things that are high on our list is, you know, there's really not much that you know, does anything against a drone. So those drones kind of need some Achilles heels out there. And yeah, and the other one is that there's no cure for poison. So there's lots of things still to be done to take the mechanics to like a stage 2 and create even more interaction between everything that takes place within the game.
That's exciting. I think, you know, it's certainly fun to play with the Sentinels. I enjoy it. You know, I can't help but think what it would be like to have, you know, another card with another angle, you know, that's up against the Sentinels, right? Obviously, I would imagine Sentinels would be, you know, the most powerful, right? But, you know, who knows? Like if you're pulling a card from another, you know, a project, what have you, that, you know, if some things are templatized, repeatable, right, where you'd be able to do something like that, you know, I could imagine, you know, other players coming in from other communities could be fun. But, you know, like you said, nothing written in stone or what have you, but it's awesome.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think one of the things I was just sort of talking about last night with I don't know if you know him, John Carl, who works with the Crazy Carl Collective. You know, he and I were playing a few games because he was just sort of getting into it and trying it out for the first time. And, you know, it was great because he's like, it's what we find a lot is, you know, people who come into play, they're like, yeah, you know, I've got time for, you know, maybe 2 or 3 games. And then, you know, 14, 16 games later, we're like, oh, just what happened to the time?
Yeah.
But, you know, just even right then and there, you know, we were talking about how we need to have like a Crazy Carl tournament or things like that. So I think at the lowest of hanging fruit, you know, there's definitely lots of opportunities to do. I mean, our plan is definitely for large scale sort of open to all tournaments, but there's also the chance to customize and make something a little smaller if any specific communities or people want to throw something together.
Nice. Yeah, those Carls are builders. I know I intercepted a transmission when Ollie picked up some orange bulldog or something. It was something. And cool that you're looking at.
Yeah, and PTM and I are proud to call ourselves part of the Carls.
Let's go.
Definitely a strong group.
Heck yeah. What excites you the most about the future of Megaforce Arena and its potential to engage with community?
I think the answer to that question has a lot to do with just the reception that we've seen, in the last 2 weeks now that Alpha's been open. I mean, like leading up to that point, we of course we had an idea. The team has spent so many times playing so many games, and we ourselves can't stop playing. It's sort of always like, oh, you got a second? Let's let me kick your butt. But it's I think now that we're sort of seeing how well it's being received, that's just even more wind in our sails, because we do really believe that we have something that stands alongside a lot of these great games that millions of people are playing, whether it's Magic the Gathering, Hearthstone, the Marvel games that are out there. Like there's such a strong market for these types of games, and for us, we absolutely want to get in there alongside and brush shoulders with all of those games that now have become long running franchises. So for us, it's definitely about taking Megaforce Arena, building it and developing it really solidly, and strengthening it within the current ecosystem and community and within this space. But I mean, we have really ambitious plans to take it wide and really push the limits of everybody who knows about it and everybody who's playing it.
I just thinking out loud, I the other day they had the poker in the other side, and there you had folks playing with some play money, and then you had some charity action at the big table. But with all the activities going on in the other side, every month, and we're it looks like we're having Project Dragon at the end of this month, but then they had that card event. Gosh, wouldn't it be freaking neat to have like some sort of a Megaforce Arena match in other sides, similar to how the poker was played? That could be kind of gnarly.
100%. Yeah, was absolutely thinking the same thing. Being in that and sitting down at a table and playing poker. But for sure, definitely can't wait to see what they have in terms of the ODK. I mean, it's been a while since we've talked about this, but we have a choice piece of other side land, where Applied Primate headquarters in the other side has always intended to be hosted. So definitely anywhere where people are playing games and the games can be imported and brought into, but we definitely want to take a look at and see what we can do to be there.
Yeah, no, I know about the land. Intercepted a transmission with Ollie when he picked up some of that element. I think 115.
Element 115.
Yeah. He was pretty excited about that. I don't know what the heck he's thinking half the time. The guy wears a tinfoil hat and all he talks about is oranges. It's kind of nuts. But we look where things are headed. Gretzky was great because he was skating where the puck was going, not wasn't going at the puck. He was like the first tinfoiler, I think.
Absolutely.
So what challenges have you faced when putting this together, when it comes with like lore and technology? Any hurdles that you've overcome from that aspect?
I mean, I think what we do is we kind of keep it challenging and keep ourselves on our toes on a regular basis. I mean, my background before getting into Web3 was in comics and comic books. And I mean, that is when you follow a periodical schedule of delivering your content and delivering your narrative, you're always basically, looking at your deadlines and they're really close and you're always kind of backing up against them, which is always challenging and always makes things difficult, but it also gives you so much free room to pivot, make any changes at the last minute that you think everything's going to be all the better by. So it's also quite exhilarating and really creates for sometimes some really magical things. I mean, like the drones is kind of an example of that, where we really just pulled that out of our hat. It ended up being something that we wouldn't have wanted to have done any other way. So that's a lot of it. I mean, we are always we're always planning far in advance, but the times that when you finally get to that point in the schedule and you look back at your earliest notes and they're exactly the same, it's actually the same execution as what you had planned 6 months ago. That's never the case. Like there's always changes and adjustments and enhancements. But it's cool. I mean, like I said, it keeps us on our toes. It keeps everything fresh. It keeps everything relevant. And it just really welcomes and always, there's always this standing invite to, hey, if we think this is going to be really cool and make things really better, then let's make it happen. As opposed to kind of telling yourself no.
Yeah. When you brought up the drones, I was going to bring that up. I mean, I think, when you're at the 11th hour and then all of a sudden you got the banger idea and you're like, we got to go with this, and being able to incorporate that. I can't emphasize how important I think that is, right? I think, when I look at some of the, the teams and people that, I've ever intercepted throughout my time, sometimes when things are being built, you end up scrapping a lot of it. And, maybe something that, never was part of the idea that came up through that creation process now ends up becoming larger or enhanced upon. But you have to kind of have the stones and the faith, to do that. And it sounded like you saw the fish weren't going to hit, right? And you're like, these drones have got to make it happen. And now I think, it's one of my favorite things in the game, to be honest with you.
Yeah, same. Absolutely. I love those little guys. And the stacking. I mean, somebody actually, this is a slightly different one. I mean, the best thing about the game right now is seeing what everybody's discovering. It's kind of wild because when you put out all these cards and all these rules and all these mechanics, and you have no idea. I mean, obviously there was no way that we could have computed every possible combination or pairing or face off, and it's really cool to see as more people play, the more things that everybody's discovering as they search through it too. I mean, somebody totally figured out that if you play, I mean, there's one card where like your opponent has to play 0 mental energy next bid, and then to follow it up with one of these, like, you know, opponent's mental energy takes 2 damage for every point. Like, that's a real killer blow. So I think, yeah, there's so much ingenuity, whether it's like we have ideas and then we flip to execute them, or, you know, the ideas that everybody else is having and the discoveries that they're making. I mean, to me, circling back to narrative and cosplay, I love it because, you know, we're a lab, you know, we're the Applied Primate laboratory, and everybody in there is in some way, shape, or form cooking and working, even though it's all for entertainment.
So
you know?
I am a bit curious though, like how do you see like Megaforce Arena like might shape the future of Applied Primates?
You know, I think it's designed to really be our flagship game. We have lots of desire to expand and not just have that be the only horse in the barn. But you know, we really are kind of expecting it and working towards it being what we become known for. You know, it should be the example of what we're capable of, how we execute. Really just, you know, we want to stand behind it. So then when we look to do other things or branch in any other directions, you know, people kind of know what to expect. So it really is just intended to be our showcase and our flagship.
I think what's exciting for me is, you know, sometimes when you go into some of these alpha games, you're just kind of getting a sense of where it's headed, you know, what cool things are doing, but, you know, gameplay, you know, you're just kind of exploring, right? You're figuring out, oh, I'm excited to see what comes next. I'm excited for beta, right? The thing that is so gnarly about this is that you're coming into Megaforce Arena, and I came in and, you know, with my DGen hat on, and I wasn't reading, I was throwing these cards, and I realized that, holy smokes, there's so much more here. And then, you know, as you were just kind of dropping some notes to me, you know, it just the appeal, like I could feel it, right? And then, you know, trying to find time to get back in to play some more. You know, I don't know if a lot of games at the alpha level really have that. And, you know, it certainly makes me excited about, you know, beta and, you know, and then when you release to market.
Yeah, that's great to hear. I mean, like that's intentional by design. I mean, we completely understand that the game's not going to be for everyone. I mean, I was sort of, I had like an, oh my God, what have we done moment when, you know, I did get on like a voice chat with somebody a few nights ago to start walking them through the game. And I was like, you know, listen to how I sound. Like, you know, this is not easy. This is very complex, but if, you know, you're up for the challenge, if that's the kind of thing that you appreciate and you want to get involved in, then, you know, that's sort of who we're catering to and who we're making things for. I think the analogy I used is that, you know, just to try and deflect some of my own anxiety that I was feeling in this conversation, is like, you know, this is much more like a Settlers of Catan game than Chutes and Ladders. You know, it's you know, you can't just jump in and play a game and it's gonna, you know, take you 5 minutes. There's a little bit more to it, but again, if that's your thing, we feel like the payoff and the reward and the enjoyment is massive.
Nice.
I'm thinking about Settlers in Catan and all of the family feuds that come. I don't know about you, man, but like when I'm playing Catan, sometimes, you know, I'm like maybe I just need to sit in silence for a little bit before I talk to my family, because I'm not ready to go again.
Exactly. But that's it. It's immersive, it's something you take seriously. It's not just, the kind of thing you spend 30 seconds on and then pass.
Yeah, man. If it's tugging on your heartstrings, if it's tugging on your emotions, if it's getting you worked up a little bit, if you're sweating a little, these are indicators that you're on the right path.
Yeah.
I mean, and on that note, Blinko, I think we might be able to help some of our listeners today to join the journey, I think, along, right?
That's true. I think we have 3 Sentinels up for grabs.
Yeah. Let me see. I kind of went a bit elemental with this one. So I picked one with Earth, the other one was Icy, and then Robot as well. I thought that's a nice mix to start the listeners today and joining us. But how?
Heck yeah, man.
How can they join? How can they enter?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you asked. It's a POAP, and you put in your secret phrase, and that's going to be a arena for our Megaforce arena. And so yeah, this POAP. I gotta say, out of all the POAPs we've done, from the aesthetic standpoint, this is the POAP that you're going to want to get. It's got the right flavor to it. So head over to the POAP app. Your secret phrase is going to be arena, and you got 15 minutes at the top of the hour here. So in 2 minutes, that'll be live for 15 minutes. So go ahead, claim that POAP. Yeah, man.
Yeah, and then after claim later, I think in the next hour or so, you can expect the trophy page, and then you can just go on trophy, and over the weekend, fingers crossed, you get lucky.
Yeah, let us, if you win, let us know, and let us know how the game is. Love to get the feedback and share it out. Also, if you're just tuning in and listening, we also we broadcast in video. Fernando's at his radio station. I'm at my headquarters off in some other galaxy here. But, you can watch us on YouTube or Twitch. And we also, we upload to Spotify. And so you can check us out there too. But gosh, it's been fun, man. This hour went by so flippin' fast. I tell you, we're going to have to chat again.
Yeah, this was awesome. And thanks so much for doing that. I mean, that's absolutely incredibly generous of you. And you picked some good ones.
Nice.
I am absolutely loving Ice.
I was quite surprised there was so many variations with it, and they all kind of looked cool. And that was, at that point, I was telling Blinko, I mean, this is kind of a very interesting collection on its own, because it doesn't matter which one you pick. They all have this own charm to it, right? So they all look good, because this also not a given with every collection either, that every one of them look good in their own way, right? Because most of the collections you have like a small selections of ugly ducklings, and with this one it didn't really feel it. So that's why I had more hard time picking it. Normally I would just pick through random and then go with it. But this time I was really trying to pick the nice one, and I said what, fudge it, I'll go elemental. Let's grab 3.
That's great. That's great to hear too, because we were really proud of how the collection came out. In terms of and oh man, we could spend another hour talking about how we did that mint, because we made it so complex and complicated, where users actually chose their base armor, and then the rest went from there. But I mean, there's a lot of thought that went into it, and I kind of like, just personally, because we did a lot of work, and it's something that I guess is a little selfish, because when you're on the inside and you're building out the traits, and you spend so much time on it, and you just have your own inherent appreciation, you want people to also have that appreciation. And check out and just, take care, kind of sorting through and picking their favorites and doing all of that. And now within the game where the traits are so important, it almost, kind of forces conversation around traits.
Yeah.
Or back to traits. And I think that's cool just because, that there's a lot that's in there. And now where, Mercury wings for me is, now an even more favorite trait because I love that card, and I'm shopping around for one of those, things like that. So
awesome.
Cool.
Awesome.
But this was amazing. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for making time.
We're happy to have
joining
you.
In.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Blinko, you want to go for the pull-up again just before we bounce and say goodbye?
Yeah. We got about 13 minutes, folks. So go ahead and hit that POAP app and go ahead and claim your POAP. And aesthetic as heck, guys and gals and everyone in between. I identify as alien, so whatever. So have fun, claim that thing. You have till 13 minutes. Arena's your secret phrase. So go ahead, grab that, pick it up, and rock and roll. Yeah,
and then later on there will be more information on how you can enter into the raffle for the 3 Sentinels. Well, I mean, not all. You won't get all 3. I mean, there will be 3 winners. I mean, just to clarify.
Let's go. Hopefully someone that doesn't hold a Sentinel wins. I want someone new to play this game. I want to hear
input
from them. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I love that, man. All right, man. Thanks everybody again for joining us with today's session, and speaker was very very kind of you and making time for you to join us and tell everybody about the cool stuff you guys are doing. And to everybody else, thanks for joining. And
have a blessed weekend.
Yeah, man. Any last
words,
Blinko and President?
No, just have a blessed weekend. President, why don't you give us the last words?
I'll see you in the lab. Let's play some games. See you in the arena.
All right, brother.
All right, see you in the arena.
Take care.
Cheers.
All right.
Cheers.
Later, guys.
Bye-bye.